Welcome to the Inspire to Invest podcast, where we're sharing stories from real estate investors and how investing has changed their lives. Thank you to PropertyCast.io for bringing you this month's episodes of Inspired to Invest. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Inspired to Invest podcast. I have Barbara Isabel joining me from Los Angeles for today. She is one of the fastest growing multifamily real estate agents in Los Angeles, one of the top real estate cities in the entire world. She graduated from law school, but actually left law to pursue financial freedom through income-producing real estate assets. And she also just recently opened up her own real estate brokerage called Barbara Group, which is under Keller Williams. So thank you so much for your time, for being here today. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so good. Thank you. I appreciate you joining me and taking time out of your busy day. Now, obviously, it sounds like you've done a lot in a short period of time, but maybe you can talk about, what life looked like before real estate came into the picture. Like, obviously, you've made a big shift from law over to real estate. So maybe you can talk about the decision-making process behind that and where you are now.
It wasn't an easy process. Especially we have a different system in Europe. So you have 5 years of undergrad. Then I passed the bar. I started practicing law. I moved to Chile because my mom was born there. So I just, kind of wanted to experience the culture. So I went out there for a couple of years. Then my dad got really sick. I went back to Spain. And I decided I wanted to do a master's degree. So that's when I moved to LA to do my degree. I never really thought about leaving law, and I never really thought about living in LA, especially not full time. Just had the concept of, this being like the American dream. You come here, a year later, you're driving a Bentley, you're living in a mansion, all these things that you see on TV, that they seem so attainable. And then while I was attending Pepperdine Law School here, my dad passed away. So I kind of felt that I needed to make up for the time that, the last few months leading up to that moment that I wasn't with him.
Yeah.
So I kind of started working in law and realized it was very corporate. There wasn't like much of an opportunity to grow the way I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So I met somebody that was in real estate development, and they were like, hey, your personality, you like learning, you like reading, you should consider about doing something, more people oriented, not strictly in an office. And that's what I did.
Yeah. So what did that look like? Because obviously you left your legal career. So moving into real estate, did that take off for you right away, or what was kind of your transition period like?
So first of all, I looked really young. This was 7 years ago. I still look young, but I look really young. Everyone thought I was 12 or 13 years old. I have a strong accent that I still do.
Yeah.
So with my accent and my look, they were like, do you even know LA? How old are you? A lot of my clients would ask me that.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a challenge. Again, I didn't have any family out here. I came by myself, left all my family and my siblings in Spain.
Yeah.
So, it was definitely a challenge. The first year and a half, it was bad. I went into, what's called credit card debt, which is, amazing thing to go into. And I think everybody should get a taste of it. I went into credit card debt, just trying to, take my career off the ground. I, started cold calling, landed eventually 3 very good phone calls. I converted those 3 phone calls into meetings, and then I converted those 3 meetings into listings.
Yeah.
And I sold the 3 of them. So, that right there was, almost $10 million in real estate.
Yeah.
And then eventually, just referral business, kept cold calling. The second year was a little better. And eventually I realized that people who buy and sell single family homes, they buy one every, 5-10 years, the very best case scenario. But investors buy properties, 20-30 times a year. Even the ones who are, the smallest business are buying 5 properties a year.
Yeah.
So I realized that there was, another niche that not many women were into either. And, with my law background, I felt very comfortable learning about zoning and speaking to the city and going to the housing department. Eventually found 2 what I thought were good properties, presented them to 2 known developers in LA. They liked it. They bought them off of me.
Yeah.
And I kept selling them properties.
Wow. So then how did you kind of look at that, right? So obviously you're kind of new to real estate. So how did you decide to start looking into something specifically in that area, in that asset class?
Because of the frequency that I was getting paid. I couldn't rely on getting paid 2-3 times a year. It was just not going to work. The cost of living and everything, I was born and raised in a very lucky way. And I just kind of wanted to keep that same lifestyle that I had before here.
Yeah.
Obviously way more expensive city, way more challenging. So yeah, I would say, and again, I needed to make up for that time that I wasn't there when my dad passed away. So I had a lot of motivation to like go out there and, make it, whatever that
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
Little did I know that I was going to end up, falling in love with development and doing it myself, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you say that that's primarily your focus right now is working with development companies and finding them opportunities? Or now that you have your
Yes.
brokerage, are you trying to be more multi-purpose in terms of the clients that you're servicing?
So it's interesting because like, even though, I sell my clients, I don't know, 20, 25 development projects every year, I also have my like 5 or 6 multi-million-dollar listings. So,
Hmm.
just yesterday I signed a $50,000 per month lease representing the tenant.
Hmm.
So, the commission on that is like 15,000, which is, 2.5% of the term of the lease, which is a year and a half.
Yeah.
Uh, Before that, I sold 2 apartments in Beverly Hills, 2 million, 1.3, another one for like 2.3. So, I just always get either word of mouth, some referral business. And this is off of a very short career because I really
Yeah.
wasn't like the single family, multi-million-dollar range for just almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So, with the hundreds of thousands of realtors that you have out here, it wasn't really like, a long career. But I
Yeah.
guess my clients liked me. They stay in touch. They felt I was honest. At first, they knew I needed the money, which is something they
Yeah.
liked. They were
Yeah.
like, okay, she's hungry. She needs it. Like,
Yeah.
that these realtors that have 50, 60 listings out there. It was a
Yeah.
little different. And I just kind of kept it very consistent, What I was doing and what I'm doing now and how I approach my sales is the same. It's always been the same. And, I'm going to continue to do it the same way, whether I'm, making 10,000 or 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Now, when you look back at this last 6, 7 years, what would you say is something that you're most proud of or you feel like is maybe your biggest success?
Making it in LA, in the sense of being able to, have the lifestyle that, of course, we always want more and we always want what we don't have, but I have a
Yeah.
pretty good lifestyle. And I just bought my first 4 units. I just closed on the purchase on November 15th. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. It's,
Yeah. No,
it's a
that's awesome.
very expensive property, only fourplex in Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. Is it going to be a long-term, uh, like long-term renters or short-term rentals?
No, long term. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing like, it's 4 units. I rented 3 of them out already. And it's, yeah, it's a 30-year loan. So hopefully, if I make an extra payment every year, even just by doing that, I can pay it off in like 17 years. So that's kind of like the
Yeah.
hope and the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty expensive property, pretty sweet, that I was able to put that deal together.
Yeah.
And I would say that's something that I'm definitely very proud of.
Awesome. So I guess in terms of things like obstacles, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced and overcome?
Biggest obstacles, tenants. When you are buying properties with tenants, or even sometimes when you're buying properties vacant and you get squatters, their rights in California are significant. So the moment they like change the lock in the door, is considered that they established their residence and you have to evict them. So that means a
Wow.
year of court
Wow.
and several thousands of dollars to get them out. So that I would say that's one of the worst things
Yeah.
about it, but you just need to know what to buy and deal with the tenants before you close.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Now, what would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've faced? And that could be like working as a realtor or on the investment side.
The biggest lessons, buy with today's market expectation. Do not buy with tomorrow's expectation. That's one. Be patient. Be consistent. If you don't know, ask the question or go to the city or go to housing or make the phone call. We are not supposed to know. If you
Yeah.
don't ask or somebody teaches you, there's no way you're going to know. So
Yeah.
just be humble about the learning process and surround yourself who are better than you,
Yeah.
or at least are doing better things than what you're doing. That's really the only way to get to a better place.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Now, what would you say is one of the craziest things that's happened to you as a realtor or investor so far? And if maybe there's nothing that comes to mind, maybe you've got a story from one of your clients.
Oh my gosh, so many stories. I mean, I'm pretty confident in my own way. So, I don't mind going to properties that are not in good areas, especially when we are talking about development.
Hmm.
Properties that are not in good areas, and I get a lot of squatters, and I'm like, I go in the property and like, get out, get out. And there was this one time that there was like a woman. Obviously, a lot of them are into drugs, which is obviously a big problem everywhere in the world, but here especially. And she just literally grabbed a baseball bat, and I had to run down the street with my heels where she was chasing me. And I
Oh
was like on the
gosh.
phone trying to call the cops.
Oh dear. Yeah,
I
that
kind
is
of feel like
definitely.
that.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah,
That's
me
definitely
too.
crazy. Well, on that note, we're just going to take a really brief break for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Is the real estate investment you're considering a gold mine or a landmine? Introducing PropertyCast.io, the black magic of real estate investment analysis. Use PropertyCast.io to analyze and underwrite real estate investment opportunities, unlock the potential of a property, and share professional reports. Jordan McGregor is a commercial realtor and founder of PropertyCast.io. He identified the need to simplify and streamline how properties are underwritten to help investors make better decisions and sound investments. PropertyCast.io is a best-in-class purpose-built tool for real estate investment analysis. To find out more, go to PropertyCast.io, and to sign up, click the link in the show notes. Thanks again for following along with this episode of Inspired to Invest. In addition to real estate, investing, and running my own brand experience agency for 18 years, I also published a book called The Accidental Entrepreneur in October of 2021. This is my story, and it chronicles how I turned tragedy into triumph to embrace my destiny in entrepreneurship. If you're interested in picking up a copy, you can find the link at serenahomesrealtor.com, and you can also find my link tree with all of the retailers in the details below. Thanks again for your support. Proud to support the Beyond Success program. In today's complex world, it's absolutely crucial for our youth to learn how to take charge of their financial future. We believe that every young person deserves access to accurate, practical financial information. Designed to bridge the gap, the Beyond Success program leverages a comprehensive educational bootcamp to equip young minds with essential financial literacy skills. At Beyond Success, it's not just about teaching financial literacy, it's also about fostering a foundation for a prosperous and empowered future. Join us. Together we can build a brighter financial future for the next generations. Join us. Together we can build a brighter financial future for the next generations. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Inspired to Invest podcast. I've got Barbara Isabel here. She's one of the fastest growing multifamily real estate agents in Los Angeles, and she's sharing about her experiences going from a legal career over into real estate as a realtor and now as a real estate investor. So obviously just before the break, we were talking about the craziest thing that's happened to you so far, being chased out of a property with a baseball bat. So definitely pretty crazy. But when it comes to mentorship and advice, I know you mentioned that you've worked with different real estate developers and now even, working as a realtor. But what would you say are some of the best advice that you've been given as you've grown your career?
Well, definitely you gotta be patient. This is a long-term play. You just gotta stay consistent, and then don't forget. Oh, you always have to have a goal. Like whatever your goal is, just don't get distracted. Just always remember that there is a reason to wake up, and we should be grateful to be alive and get to wake up and do what we love.
Yeah.
Don't do something you don't love, because it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. You have to really be passionate about what you do. I would say so. Yeah.
Now you mentioned before the break that you have just bought your first fourplex. So what would be next for you in terms of developing and scaling your real estate portfolio? Have you thought about where you'd like to take that?
Yeah, I would like to obviously, double, triple my sales on the sales side, and then I would like to do my first ground up development this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for something like that, would you be more finding the property and then hiring the developer? Or how would you see that coming together?
Yeah, so I will be identifying the property. I will be putting the money up for the purchase. Then, some of my clients who, I've done some deals with them before in the past. I've partnered with them in some deals. They will get the financing for the construction. I will help them from A to C, like I currently do. Just to learn the process. I will help them to get the plans, the permits through, then build it. Then stabilize the building, and probably then refinance, pull the money back, and just put it on cruise control. So
there you go.
Yeah.
As easy as that. Now, in terms of financial freedom, you obviously talked about goal setting and growing your sales, but is there a particular financial freedom number that you have in mind that will make you feel like you are more financially free, whether that's number of doors, cash flow, annual earnings?
Well, I've always thought that I would like to have something I can manage. Like, again, it's, me, myself and I, doing this pretty much, for my financial freedom. And then obviously those to come after me, and just to live a good life. I'm 31 years old right now. So I'm still, kind of like trying to figure out whether I want to stay in LA, like how long do I want to stay here? There are a lot of things to like about LA. But I'm not like married into anything. I'm open to just financial freedom. For me looks like, no matter what I want to do every month, I don't really have to worry about the money I have in the bank. That's what it looks like. So there is no number of doors, there is no amount. I just know that the only way, not the way, but the only way to really achieve wealth is through income producing real estate, unless you are on the top 1% that gets lucky and makes it.
Yeah, no, I'd agree completely. Now, in terms of how real estate has changed your life, can you talk a little bit about how that's shifted since you had your legal career?
Night and day. As much as I love law, night and day. You go from having a boss, a 9 to 5, or 8 to 6, whatever your schedule is, and having to report to your clients, to just pretty much deciding what you want to do with your day all day every day. And it's a little bit more challenging, because if you don't feel like it, you don't have to get out of bed, but then you don't produce that day. So there is a downside to being your own boss. At the same time, I kind of learned to embrace the process. And sometimes a couple months last year, I wasn't really like going for it the way I did the other 10 months. And you just have to, remind that we're humans. Sometimes we feel good. Sometimes, especially, females, we're very emotional. So we go through things in life, or, that makes us feel different sometimes. So we just have to take it as it comes. Yes. If you are consistent 10 out of the 12 months a year, for me, it's okay. I'm not a 365 person. I have my days too.
Yeah. And I think you just have to have that balance, right? Like there's going to be times that you're go, go, go and you're working hard, but there's also something to be said for self-care and taking a step back and reflecting. And, it has a lot to do with expansion and, coming back and forth.
Yeah.
I think that
I'm
makes
glad, let's say that I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing and not trying to figure out how to get to Mars like Elon Musk is, that requires 7 days a week, 365. Yeah. So I'm glad that, I have the flexibility of enjoying life the way I like it.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Now, obviously the topic or the name of this podcast is Inspired to Invest. So I always like to ask people what their favorite inspiring or motivational quote is for them.
Their favorite quote. I don't know if I would necessarily call it a quote, but it's just kind of like what I live by in both work and my personal life. And it has really helped me. Actually, I never heard this from anybody. This is just me and my life philosophy. I don't have any expectations with absolutely anything in my life. When I make a phone call, when I, speak to my boyfriend, how he's going to react, whether he's going to give me flowers or not give me flowers, where my client is going to be in a good mood, in a bad mood. I don't have any expectations about anything. I just do and take things as they come, because I feel that expectations to me have proven in the last few years, especially the last 7, 8 years that I've been out of my, my parents' umbrella. It has proven to be for me the worst enemy of progress. When I expect for something to be this way or someone to respond a certain way to something I say or I do, and it doesn't happen, it just, I'm very emotional, it really gets to me. So I feel that if we, just take a step back and just say things the way we feel them and just see how people respond, try not to be so judgmental and, just listen. I think that's how I live my life and my business. Yeah.
And if you have no expectations, you can't be disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's great. So is there anything in particular that you wanted to leave anyone that's watching or listening with?
Yeah, well, if you want to achieve financial freedom, meaning that you don't have to worry about, getting that check every week or, that check every 2 weeks, the only way to do it is through income producing real estate. And there are a lot of programs when it comes to loans that can help you achieve that with as little as 3.5% down. We're talking about 40, 50 or 60,000 for single family homes, even in LA. So a lot of people don't know that. There's big misinformation about, these different programs. So if you're thinking about buying something in LA, city of LA, whether it's a single or any type of multifamily real estate, give me a call. I'm here. I can walk you through the process. I love what I do. I'm good at what I do, and would love to help.
Great. What's the best way for people to reach you?
I would say through my Instagram, Barbara Isabel RE. Okay. You have my email, phone number, link tree, and everything in there.
Yeah, perfect. And we'll include all that in the show notes below. Of course, thank you for your time being here today. And for anyone that is tuning in, listening, or watching, thank you for your time. Of course, make sure that you have followed along at Inspired to Invest podcast. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, when you invest in yourself, the sky's the limit. Thanks again.
Thank you to PropertyCast.io for bringing you this month's episodes of Inspired to Invest. The views represented on this podcast are for general information only and does not constitute investment or other professional advice or an offering of securities. The host and guests featured on Inspired to Invest make no representations as to the performance of any particular investment. Should you decide to make an investment, you are responsible for conducting your own review and analysis. It is recommended that you obtain independent legal, accounting, and tax advice from licensed professionals.